Okay, it looks like here we are again with some US TAC 2020. And I am gonna set this up so we can watch this match and hopefully do some streaming as well on the Discord channel so people can watch this live if they so desire. Okay, here we go. Fwib and Orfane. This is going to be magical. So this match is pretty important because of a couple reasons. Number one, Fwib is currently number one in the tournament right now. Number two, Orfane is currently number three in the tournament right now. Now, this is a pretty close matchup between these two players. However, the biggest part is that No Hat yesterday won both of his matches, which puts him at 24 points total in the tournament. If Fwib wins both of these, he wins. If he splits it, No Hat and Fwib go into a Blitz playoff tournament for the final position for first and second. So, all right, we see the mirror going off in this match, and then we see Fwib going off to the side. Interesting that White did not place a capstone here. That's okay. White placed the capstone there, just delayed a move. That's sort of the go-to move there with those two adjacent pieces. Really, really hard to avoid placing a flat stone there, a capstone there. Super, super strong positioning for White. Black is going to have to do some work to catch up to this point. Probably place a capstone or a flat here. Oh no, he's just going straight up. So maybe he's going to try to go around White here. I'm interested to see how this works out because at this point, White could decide to move straight for a horizontal threat because that horizontal threat would then cut off all this work that Black has done going vertical. Okay, so Black does place the capstone here, effectively cutting off all of this. Not yet, but eventually cutting off all of this, threatening to cut off all of that, and also potentially cutting off this bit here. Okay, we do see the attack threat here. That is quickly blocked off by a flat stone from Black. This is interesting. This is a dangerous position here for Black. Okay, White makes another threat, a double threat, capturing here, then throwing over. So he's just going to keep trying to build around. White is using this momentum to his advantage, and Black is actually in trouble. Fwib is going to have to work for this. Orfane taking his time, trying to figure out his next move. I wouldn't be surprised if he just started going off horizontally here. I mean, he could also place here, place down. Like, he's got a number of options. He captures over instead. I'm surprised at the capture. I would have expected a placement. So this is an opportunity for Black. So this is no longer a attack threat. And there was a capture made. So Black can throw down a wall. He can capture that stack, reclaim this captive, and also improve his flat count, disrupt this whole road if he captures over and then goes down. That's probably the move here, is capture over and then throw down, leaving a Black flat and placing a wall here. Yeah, as whoever this random person is says, that capture was premature. And that gave an opportunity to Black to place that wall down. So now he's basically holding this spot captive. Orfane's got to figure out what he wants to do. So now that, I mean, White still has a solid position. He can still make attack threat on the next move. But Black has a little bit more forethought in this. He's thinking farther along down the road. Haha, road hits tack. Another interesting capture. Instead of placing, he captures. Okay, so we see that thought. That's probably because he was expecting if he places here, okay, attack threat. If he places here, it's just going to get recaptured by the capstone. So this, ooh, he throws down another wall instead of throwing down these pieces. That is interesting. Fwib is definitely making sure that he is not losing here to a road. He wants to make sure that this either goes the distance or he gives himself enough time to make his own threats. He wants to basically dismantle all of the road threats of white so that he can continue on and do his own thing and make his own threats. All right. Okay. Supposedly, there are people watching the stream right now who are saying they're consistently trying to rotate the board so they can see things better. Sorry. Here we go. A little bit of rotation here for you. We'll look at it like this for a little bit. So, Orfane moves the capstone. I thought he might do that. It doesn't give him an attack threat here. Huh. And Fwib apparently thought he might do that too, and he immediately moves his capstone down. There was no attack threat, but he moved the capstone down anyway. Okay, so we could be seeing a threat here from black pretty soon. White sort of has all of his work dismantled. So now his positions of power have been spread out. So if we look here, we got 3 clusters here for white, a couple clusters here for white. I mean, a strong capstone, but doesn't have sort of the cohesiveness of these 2 lines of black that are meeting together. So yes, Rabbit Boy is correct. Those were some brutal walls. And this right here is just solid, just good positioning. So we're going to see white build up, black making his first attack threat of the game. And we'll see how white responds to this. He could use his capstone, he could use these flats, he could use this flat up here. He could do a number of different things to disrupt this, and he uses his capstone. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see black play at d2 here. It would renew the attack threat, and if white decides to capture over with his capstone, it kind of puts that capstone at a disadvantage position. Okay, he's building down. Okay, I see where he's going with this. So if white builds here to stop this threat, it can capture over. So it's got to be a wall or it's got to be the capstone. He's forcing that move if he wants to stop this. And if he decides to stop over here, black can start building down along this road to go for that horizontal threat instead of the vertical one. What I might see is, okay, we see the wall come down. All right, solid forced move from Fwib. That was smart. I wouldn't have been surprised to see this white capstone stack jump up and cover up these flats to gain a little bit more momentum, but he's waiting to do that because he wants to make this threat here along the horizontal. So he's building across. Maybe he'll start building here to sort of fake that line out. Yeah, over here, black is saying place at a3, so he can't place at a3. But even if he places at a4, it's again another attack threat. So this is interesting to see what Fwib does here. He's going to have to play a little defensively, but he might not. See, what he can do is he can start building this horizontal road, wait for white to make that threat, and then just throw this wall stack down, cover up this whole anchor point for the road, and just be done. Say, all right, fine, I've had enough of your threats using this horizontal line. Let's just get rid of that, give myself a +3 flat count, and then move on to my next threat. So I think that Fwib is going to be placing here. He's just going to work that for a little bit, and then we'll see white make a threat, and then this wall come down to basically stop everything. see these people. Yes, I said that. Come on, guys, watch the stream. All right, so the threat has been made. B2 placed. So now he can throw that capstone up, cover up here, cover up there, and then make this road. So if we misses this, that's going to be the game. That's it. And so I don't think Fwib will miss this. He's got pretty good eyes for these tack threats. We'll probably see this wall come down and cover up these two pieces and eliminate that horizontal threat. Again, probably. There is a potential, no matter how good you are, you can miss a threat at any point in the game. It's easy to overlook things. Capstone blindness is a thing where you just don't see a threat because there's a capstone involved. That happens to everybody. I'd do that wall. Come on, Fwib. Okay, he does make the wall move. Throws that down, eliminates that horizontal threat. Now White's just got to think, okay, how can I keep this going to build for this vertical threat now? He might be placing down here at B1, which would also stop this horizontal threat from Black. He might decide to place here to sort of preemptively cut off this horizontal threat that Black is making. He could do a number of different things here. Now, I also like for Black placing down here at E1, because that moves towards this direction. Okay, so we may be seeing a play here where White wants to build here, throw his own capstone up to make a connection between these pieces, maybe go vertically or go off horizontally. He is cutting off this horizontal threat from Black, though. So Black placing here at E5 would probably be a good spot for him. And give him the ability to recapture this position or to basically build along this vertical threat to eventually smash his wall with a capstone. If he throws... Yeah, and out to the side they're saying A5 to sort of make that threat where you can connect with the capstone and that sort of thing. That's fine. I like E5 better though, because it gives a little more options. Placing at E5 here, and then he can start switching perspectives back and forth. And so that's a way to sort of throw your opponent off, is if you make threats. Sorry, if you make threats in different directions, it'll throw your opponent off. So you start building here, and that makes it look like horizontal. And then you build down here, and it makes it look horizontal. Or makes it look, this is vertical, this is horizontal down here, or this is horizontal. And so you start building these two horizontal threats, and eventually you can make this vertical one without them noticing. And that's sort of a way to basically fake your opponent out. So it looks like White is trying to make this vertical threat. Will probably be placing it B1 on the next turn. So Black could preemptively place at B1 or move the capstone up. Okay, so he's relinquishing this ability to smash this wall and create his own threat vertically. Maybe he hasn't seen that. And instead he's going to solidify his positioning here. This doesn't eliminate that position here. So B1, White can place there and still make that attack threat by throwing his pieces from this capstone up, leaving a White flat here and placing his capstone here. That will still be a attack threat if he places it B1. So Black did not eliminate that with that capstone move. I don't particularly like that capstone move, but maybe Fwib is seeing something I'm not. Now, this move, this throwing of this capstone up, can be easily overlooked because you don't often leave behind enemy flats when you're doing these throws. Okay, so he does make the threat. He's probably double checking his counting, making sure that still worked. Now, we could see the capstone just come up and cover this. Um, I don't think that's a... Okay, he does do that. He covers it up, so he did see the threat, thankfully. I do want to see a game end on Tinue, which would be great. A Tinue, or, I mean, flat win is fine too, but missing a threat is just not as satisfying, you know? And so I do also kind of want Orfane to win one of these games, so we see a blitz match playoff between No Hat and Fwib. Um, but I mean, it's also nice if Fwib wins, or if Orfane wins both of them, then No Hat would win first place. There's any outcome is fine from this match. Some of them are just more exciting than others. So Orfane now has to think, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to switch my priorities here, and how is this going to work from now on? So he can't make a threat by placing at b6. That wouldn't be a full tack threat. Now he's made a tack threat by capturing over to c6. So he can still throw this capstone up. Now black will definitely see this. What he does about it is a different question. Yeah, Rabbit Boy makes a good point. Stepping the capstone over to c5 is a pretty safe move. It still maintains this 4 in a row threat. He instead opts to capture over with his flat on c3 to b3. So it still maintains his horizontal, not quite threat, but position. I mean, white might want to just throw that capstone up anyway, just to disrupt this going on up here. It would leave behind a black flat here, but it's not too worrisome. The disruption would probably be worth it. It would force the game to go a few different levels in a different direction. Both players would have to reevaluate their lines and come up with new threats to go for. So if white thinks that it's enough that he needs to reset things, that's probably going to be his move. We see Rabbit Boy and No Hat Coder evaluating the different strategies here. Okay, we did see B4 come down and another wall from Fwib. Ooh. Fwib has played 3 walls this game, and all 3 have been devastating. One of them has been smashed by the capstone, and the other one has captured a stack and led to a +3 move. All right, now let's see what we got going on here. How is Fwib going to respond? I mean, he just placed a wall. He could place a wall here. He could move his capstone over. Moving the capstone over and leaving behind a few white flats here wouldn't be that problematic because there's this wall here to stop it from connecting. Not big problem. Whether or not he wants to sacrifice this line here is probably, yeah, a little rough. But Rabbit Boy is saying place a wall at b5. I think he means b6 up here, which is what I was saying. That would put 3 walls on the board for black, which, I mean, if he's thinking I'm not going to be able to make a road here anyway, that's probably the best move. So he can get some of his flat count back by making a potentially +3, +4 move with that wall stack with those 2 captives underneath. Fwib decides to not go for the wall, decides to just place at a5 here. Now we do see attack threat. Okay, here's an interesting play. He could capture up with this flat first to force another capture, and then leave behind a bunch of flats here, capture with his capstone. Then he'd have a lot more flats to play with his capstone, and then just run them across. Okay, so he's not doing that. Instead, we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he can leave behind one black flat and then move the rest of the stack. This is not a attack threat, but it is leading towards Tinue. Like, this is... Okay, White saw that this was going in that direction, decides to place a wall down to stop any and all Tinue threats going on. I don't think moving to d5 with the capstone would lead to a Tinue, but it might. It very well might. And that's probably what Fwib is thinking right now. He's probably counting, looking ahead for the different positions here. Because if he leaves behind one black flat here, two black flats here, because there will be two because this already has one underneath, and then his capstone here. So he can, if this gets captured by this, he can throw up this flat, and then he'd have, yeah, that would be a Tinue. Do it. And he makes the move. Okay, I think this is Tinue. No, it isn't. Because he'll need to capture here, which would force that capture, and then he can capture down again, and there wouldn't be another capture move without breaking that threat. Okay. Yeah, so that was the move that stops the Tinue from happening. Fui was probably hoping that he would capture down on this first, since it was the double stack, because that would have led to a Tinue. But instead, White saw through that, made the smart capture move right here, even though it would be immediately liberated by this, knowing that he could come down with b6 and free that some more. So we see Black place at f5, which is a attack threat, capturing over with this. Basically, what needs to happen is White needs to capture over to a5. Or down, and then, yeah, it needs to capture over to a5. That was not the move I was expecting, but I think it also works, because if he captures up, it just gets recaptured, and this wall will have to move off of this big stack. To do that. We're probably trying to think, okay, what can I do here that will still give me solid positioning? Because if he moves this cap at all, that wall's immediately going up. He brought the whole stack of whites. Unexpected. So with this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he can move this whole stack of whites off and leave behind these bottom four pieces. So I imagine we're going to see him place at d4 here to continue this tack threat. And then the wall will probably move over. And then this gets placed and the wall goes down. Unless he decides to smash this, which would be funny and might work. Smashing this would not allow for any tack to be made by white because all of them would be left behind here. And there's a wall there. He'd only be able to go this direction, and he'd have these pieces to go and then throw across. That might actually be a good move, despite it being absolutely insane. Okay, so he plays at b4 instead. I liked the cap smash move because it would have been risky and exciting, but maybe a little too risky. Especially if he sees this game going to flats. We do have flat count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for white, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for black. So black is in the lead with flats. He doesn't want to give that up. We do see the dwindling reserves here on either side. So this could go in a couple different directions. White probably wasn't expecting him to just play at b4. He's probably expecting a play here. And that threw him off. No hat saying f4, 3e5 minus, and e5 are all a trap. So he places it a4. Let's see what fwwwwwib has to say about that. This could go a number of different ways. They were talking about Orfane potentially making a threat by capturing his own stack and then throwing up with the capstone. No hat saying not worth enough for the self-capture since he's so behind on flats already. Ooh, so fwwwwwib goes ahead and moves over. Let's count these again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if he moves this capstone, he's leaving behind white flats on b5. That was a tag threat. It was cut off, but now he can just place here at a4. Now this is where they're saying the wall being placed at f4 is probably the move for white. Instead, he's recapturing. Does he not see that he can place a wall here? Or maybe he's trying to eat up flats? That doesn't help him. That hurts him. It pushes black closer to a flat win. Yeah, placing a wall here at f4 is really Orfane's only shot at stopping this. And instead he's going back and forth, basically allowing black to place more flats down, which gets him closer to the end of the game. This this thrashing is what we call it. This thrashing is only helping black. So I'm not sure why white is going for that. Oh, that was nuts. And it works. Kind of. Like he'll still have to place a flat here, but that was not expected. That was fun. Very interesting. I'm sure Fwib's saying, what the heck just happened? So I'm assuming Orfane knew that he had to place at SF4. So he was going to make sure, oh, that's the game. He just gave it up. Maybe he didn't see the SF4 move, the wall at F4. Huh. Well, missed that threat. Thought it was Tinue probably when it wasn't. But yeah, he only had one out, but he was most likely going to lose to flats in the end of the game anyway. So not a too unsurprising outcome from where we were in the game, but that was a fantastic game. Orfane really he played a solid game there against one of our top players in the whole online TAC community, which I'm assuming the online TAC community is probably the best players of the TAC community, just because I think we've played more games than anyone else. But yeah, this was great. A lot of fun. Um, we'll see game two come up in just a second. Okay, that was my bad. All right, let's see. Okay, they're going to take a 5-minute break. Let's take a look here. Okay, so Orfane is talking in the Discord right now, and he's saying that taking that wall early on was his first mistake, and then he was playing catch up ever since. Let's see what he's talking about. So we see this wall get placed. Okay, so he says this move right here was his first mistake, and he was playing catch up ever since. Well, let's look back at where he was at this point. Yeah, I'd say that was a bit of a gaffe because he leaves behind this black flat here, and that sort of solidifies black's position once he moves that capstone down. So yeah, I would say that was a bit of a blunder, and he was playing a bit of catch up from that ever since. Although flat count wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, black was ahead by a few flats at this point, and he was playing catch up. Yeah, that makes sense. Throwing this up and making a +3 flat move. Let's see, -2, +1. Yeah, +3 flat move here. Would have been nice to catch him up in terms of flats. Probably wouldn't have done too much in terms of positioning, but it would have helped him get back in the game flat wise. Solid, solid stuff. We get some chat in the chat over here during the interim. One of these players here, Osborne 2020. I think he must be pretty new to TAC. He's asking a few questions about this and wanting to get a new set and potentially making one out of bathroom tiles. And we have seen people make TAC sets out of backsplash tiles and things like that. They're a lot of fun. But this online play is where we see most of the competition. I'd like to see that change someday and see some more physical competitions outside of Gen Con every year. But we'll see what we can get. For now, I will take a quick little break, pause the stream, and come back when we get back to Game 2. Looks like the Seek is up for round 2. Wib playing as white. Now, I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again, white does have a slight advantage in tech. There have been a number of different ways that the community has talked about trying to mitigate that first player advantage, whether it be with Komi or Pi or different first move requirements, a lot of different things that I won't go into detail for, but as of right now, how we mitigate it is we just have people play 2 games. And that seems to work out okay until you split 10 games in a row. I played in the 2017 Blitz tournament, and in the finals it was me and Apple Monkey Man, and we had to play 4 overtime matches, which means we played 10 games in total to determine who won. So with Blitz, not that big of a deal since they're 5-minute timers, but this would be a little bit more difficult. All right, we see the standard adjacent corners, mirrored opening. Will we see, okay, we see fwww just continuing on, and orfane going on in the opposite direction. Interesting. Interesting that he went that way. And so we see fwww just continuing on, going to keep going north. Will he continue going north, or will he start going horizontally? Yep, makes the first tack threat of the game in 6 moves. Now, if he captures down, he leaves a spot open for black's capstone to drop, or captures up. So he'll probably want to be placing maybe here at e4. Maybe he'll start playing here at c2. If he does play at c2, he will be at a disadvantage in terms of momentum. Okay, so we see the capstone come down at e4. Very interesting play. Specifically because... What? Okay, that wall, unexpected. Don't know what he's planning on doing with that. But let's see where this goes. Maybe you could tell by my Tim Allen home improvement grunt in response. Okay, so he does make that. I'm assuming this wall is going to come over here to T3 now. Yeah. Okay. So play here at C4. I mean, why not, right? What is he doing? He plays down at D1, effectively pinning the wall, I guess? I'm confused by this. I would have expected him to transition once this wall was on his only line to transition horizontally. Because he has this stack, he can move this capstone over to C4 to make a connection this way. And then this connects in 3 different directions all to this side. He may be preparing for a crush, but I don't know that that does anything for him. So if he crushes and black moves up here with this stack, then he can leave behind a white flat here, a black flat here, capture up, and have 2 and that's sort of a tenuous pattern. And so Black decided, okay, I'm not going to give him this tenuous pattern. I'm going to throw a capstone down here so I can capture over in case he does that. Very close to a tenuous pattern, although the difference there would have been, I think, capturing over here. But yeah, interesting plays going on. I'm glad Orfane saw that. At the same time, I'm also not glad he saw that, because it would have been really fun to see that tenuous pattern come out, because it's a very unorthodox type of move. All right, we see the attack threat coming out here for Black. Great positioning with the capstone, because there's not a lot that can be done here. So White goes ahead and captures over, which is interesting and kind of expected. This wall can now come up and sort of disrupt all of that going on. Probably doesn't want to, because it would get filled and then we'd see a smash for a win. So now Black has pinned White's capstone. I would not be surprised to see White just play out here, again, right here at b4. So now he's going to go for that horizontal threat. All right, so White building horizontally now. Black has pinned the capstone. Now Black has to figure out, okay, what can I do to be offensive? Okay, White probably filling in here at d3. Makes a lot of sense, because he can't smash. Now he can. So if he does smash here, it would invoke the Dragon Claws, which a lot of people have questions about when they first run into it. The Dragon Claws is, and this is a name that we came up with. Oh, that's it. That's the game. Orfane didn't see it. Smash, and that's the win. The Dragon Claws. Here we go. When a road is made for both players, the player who made the move wins the game. So he makes the move by smashing the wall. He makes the road. A wall is left behind for Black. That is the Dragon Claws. And that is a win for White. And a lot of people don't know about the Dragon Claws. And the reason we call it the Dragon Claws is because they're as rare as dragons. And I believe that was somewhere in the official rules at some point. But yeah, that's it's fun to see a Dragon Claws. We don't see them very often at all, but it's super fun when they do pop up. A little disappointing. Orfane says he's a little disappointed in that game. Less of a good game than his first one because he missed that. But still fun to see. It was a good one. So good game to fwwwwwibib, good game to Orfane. fwwwwwibib has just solidified his position. He has won the 2020 USTA biennial tournament, I think is what we're calling this, the USTA TAC Open for 2020. fwwwwwibib has achieved first place. No Hat Coder comes in second. This is not the final game of round 3, but their positions are solidified. And what is it? Third place is going to be interesting. We don't know. We don't really know who's going to be taking third place, since there may be some playoff games for it. If a few people win both of their games, then we'll see some blitz playoffs for third. But yeah, fantastic tournament so far. Well done, fwwwwwibib. Congratulations. You win, or you will win once it's officially over the tournament. You will win some absolutely gorgeous marble and granite tack pieces. And No Hat Coder, congratulations to you. You win some beautiful wooden tack pieces yourself. And that is going to be it for this game and this match. So have fun, play some tack, build your sets, buy some sets, play online, come see us in the Discord or in the subreddit and talk with us. You can always find games online by coming on to the Discord and say, hey, who wants to play with me? And then the folks on Discord will say, nobody, but we'll do it anyway because we like playing tack. and then they'll play with you on play attack. So have a good one, guys. That is Simmon signing off.